Most people have no idea how much money the average person actually retires with. Ask around and you'll hear guesses that are all over the place. Some people automatically say $1 million because that number gets repeated every time retirement comes up. Others assume most Americans retire with nothing because every headline reminds them how badly people struggle with money. But almost nobody knows the real figure, the actual data-backed number that reflects what people walk away with when they leave the workforce for the very last time. Before we get to that number, it helps to understand the moment most people retire. The typical American leaves the workforce at age 62. That's the earliest age Social Security allows you to claim benefits, although at a reduced rate. Yes, you get more if you wait until 65, 67, or even 70, but millions of people still retire at 62 anyway. For some, it's a choice. For many others, it's not. It might be health issues, layoffs, a physical job that's worn them down, caregiving responsibilities, or just running out of energy after 4 decades of work. Whatever the reason, 62 becomes the moment when savings stop growing from new income and start being tested by reality. So what do people actually have saved by that point? According to Federal Reserve data, the median household approaching retirement has somewhere between $185,000 and $200,000 in retirement accounts. That's not total wealth. That's not including home equity, savings accounts, or anything someone might have tucked in a coffee can out in the garage. That number is strictly retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, and other dedicated retirement vehicles. And while it's always possible that someone out there has millions stashed away somewhere, the numbers make it clear this is not the norm. The total picture looks a bit better, but not as good as people hope. When you include everything a household owns, the median net worth for people around 62 sits around $400,000. But the catch is that most of this is tied up in home equity. It's not cash, it's not in dividend-paying stocks, and you definitely can't take the drywall from your house and use it to buy groceries. Unless someone sells their home, downsizes, or taps into it with something like a reverse mortgage, that equity stays locked inside the property. So when you zoom out, the typical American has about $200,000 in retirement accounts and another $200,000 spread across their home, checking account, car, and miscellaneous stuff that doesn't actually generate income. The big question is, why do so many people end up here? How is it possible to work for 40 years, have hundreds of thousands of dollars flow through your life, and still retire with a balance that small? There isn't just one answer. A lot of people never truly learn how investing works. Nobody sits them down and shows them what compounding does or why small amounts early on matter way more than large amounts later. Instead of feeling confident, they feel overwhelmed. Others are afraid of the stock market because they've heard horror stories. Maybe their uncle swore off investing after 2008, or they remember someone losing everything during the dot-com crash. When you grow up hearing about loss, the market feels dangerous. Plenty of people also stick to cash because it feels safe. Watching your bank balance stay the same feels comforting, even though inflation slowly eats away at it year after year. But one of the biggest reasons is that most Americans don't save much at all. The national savings rate hovers around 5%, and that's all types of saving, not just retirement. 5% simply isn't enough to build a future, especially when only a fraction of that ever gets invested. It's easy to prioritize today's wants over tomorrow's needs. The new phone, the upgraded car, the weekend getaway, they're all right there in front of you, while retirement feels distant and abstract. So money trickles into retirement accounts only after everything else has been taken care of and decades pass without much progress. This brings us to the question everyone cares about. What does $200,000 actually produce in retirement income? Using the traditional 4% withdrawal rate, which is considered a safe pace for a conservative portfolio, that amount generates about $8,000 a year. That's roughly $666 a month. If someone takes a more aggressive approach, heavier in stocks, similar to what Dave Ramsey often talks about, they might generate something closer to $16,000 a year. That's still only about $1,300 a month. Neither of those amounts covers basic living expenses on their own, which is why Social Security becomes the backbone of retirement for most Americans. A typical benefit is around $2,000 a month per person, so a married couple pulling in around $4,000 together becomes the foundation of their retirement income. Add the money from their portfolio, and they land somewhere between $4,700 and $5,300 a month. It's not glamorous, but it's enough for many households to get by. What shocks people is how little it takes to reach that $200,000 mark. If someone invests $120 a month into an S&P 500 index fund from age 30 to 65, they end up right around that number. That's $4 a day. That's it. That's what separates someone who beats the average from someone who doesn't. And the bar to rise above average is incredibly low. Save a little more, start a little earlier, stay consistent. That's all it takes. Someone who invests $300 a month could retire with $500,000. Someone who puts away $500 a month could end up closer to $800,000 or more. There's also a powerful advantage people overlook: time. If someone reaches 62 with $200,000 saved and decides to wait a few years before touching it, maybe they continue working part-time or rely more heavily on Social Security. That money keeps growing. At the market's long-term average return of around 10% a year, 200,000 turns into over 320,000 in just 5 years without adding a single extra dollar. Wait 7 years and it's close to 400,000. That's nearly double the original amount, earned simply by letting compounding do its thing. The point isn't that everyone needs millions. It's that the average person could easily retire with far more than they do today. The key is consistency. A little money invested steadily over time goes a long way. And while the constant temptation is to enjoy everything now, the people who think clearly realize it isn't about choosing today or tomorrow. It's about balancing both. Because the truth is simple. Nobody ever regrets having too much money in retirement, but millions of people regret having too little. Thanks for watching InvestingFlix, where smart money learns smarter moves. Subscribe for more insights that grow your wealth.